Hey YouTube, it's Jamar here from Vegas Sense. Got a brand new video today. In this video, I'm going to take a little bit of a break from doing a comparison video. And what I'm actually doing in this video is I'm going over several of my fragrances that I feel like have been really successful blind buys. Now, obviously, with most fragrance reviewers, or I guess most people in general, will tell you that blind buying is not necessarily the best idea, when it comes to purchasing fragrances. I feel like in some cases, you kind of have to do that, if you really, really want to experience a fragrance, but maybe you don't necessarily want to have to, wait for a sample to come, or, if you don't necessarily have access to like a mall or something like that to go smell some of these fragrances, especially the more higher end fragrances. Maybe blind buying the fragrance based on the note breakdown and also what other reviewers say about the fragrance. Maybe that might be the best, thing for you to do. All right. So again, I'm going to be going over my most successful fragrances in terms of blind buys. And the way that I've kind of put this list together is I've put this list together in terms of the fragrances that I feel like I've definitely worn the most and enjoyed the most out of all of my collection that have been total blind buys, meaning I didn't get a sample of the original fragrance, before I bought the original, or I didn't have a sample, or I didn't buy a clone of that particular fragrance before I bought it. And if it was a clone, I just wasn't at all familiar with the scent DNA. So just to make sure that this video doesn't get too long, I'm going to get straight into it. But before I do, definitely like the video, comment, subscribe, and also share the video. And the first fragrance that I'm going to go over is Rasasi Hawas. So I bought this fragrance, I want to say in about 2017. And this was definitely on most people's like top 10 lists and stuff like that for the summer. This is just a really, really nice, fresh, spicy, but at the same time, dense and really strong beast mode summer scent. And this is definitely one that I would recommend to any person that is looking for a really nice warm weather scent that lasts a long time. All right. So that's Rasasi Hawas. And then the next fragrance is going to be from the house of Nishane, and that is Wulong Cha. This is also a really, really nice summer scent. And I mean, for a number of different reasons, it's long lasting, it projects really strongly. And it just really has just this really, really nice, calming, citrusy, sort of green tea, musky sort of scent to it. This one is it's really amazing. I've had this one for a couple of years now, and I mean, I put a decent amount of a dent into this one. It's probably about halfway done. So again, this one, I recommend this one to anybody looking for a really nice summer scent. That's Nishane's Wulong Cha. The next one up is from the house of Initio, and this one is Initio's Musk Therapy. This one, man, is definitely a really great spring and summer scent. It's citrusy, it's creamy, it's woody, sort of floral at the same time. It slightly leans feminine, but in my opinion, this is definitely one that men and women can easily pull off. And I really, really love wearing this scent. I really do. It's definitely a little bit more on the expensive side of scents. I was able to pick this one up for about $220, I believe. Or no. I picked this one up for about $180. $180 is what I got this for as a tester bottle. So if you can find this for that particular price, I would say it's definitely worth it. But Definitely at the retail price, this one is pretty steep. I believe this one goes for about $380 or $385 retail. So definitely look for discounters on this one. So again, Initio's Musk Therapy. Next fragrance up is going to be from the house of Molinard, and that is Molinard's Figue. So this one is just pretty much just like fig fruit mixed with fig leaf. It definitely has sort of like a sweet and spiciness to it. This one is definitely one that I absolutely love wearing, you know, when it's really hot and warm outside. This one definitely, it mixes with your skin chemistry, especially when it's like humid outside and you're sweating a lot. This is definitely one that you wouldn't want to wear. And at least on me out here in the desert, this one lasts a pretty long time. Normally when I wear this one, I get at least about 7 to 8 hours or so on skin. And for this to be a fresh fig scent, you know, it does really well. So again, that's Molinard's Figue. Next one up is Tabac. So I purchased this one, pretty much seeing all of the hype that was going around about this particular fragrance. This was like my introduction into like those Dior Privé line fragrance clones. And, you know, obviously I had never smelled, you know, a sample of Tabacular, had never smelled Tabac before or anything like it. And honestly, at first, I didn't really like this particular fragrance, but the more and more I wear it and, you know, the more I smell it, it definitely becomes more of a love. You know, it's sweet, but I guess I was expecting it to smell a little bit more like, you know, what is it? Xerjoff Naxos, with it being like a tobacco honey sort of scent. It definitely is a lot different from that scent. But, you know, in my opinion, I mean, it's different in very good ways for sure. It's definitely beast mode. You have to watch how many times you spray this because it can definitely become cloying. But I really do love this juice. Again, that is Tabac by Maison Alhambra. All right, so next fragrance up, we have another Dior Privé collection clone. That one goes by the name of Amber Night, and that's from Privezarah Perfumery. And this is a Paris Corner fragrance. This one is just a really nice, fizzy, sweet, vanillic, sort of ambery type of fragrance. It's really, like I said, light, fizzy, airy. And this one, man, I mean, I haven't really worn this one too much, but to me, this was like a really successful blind buy because I absolutely love the way that this smells. It does have sort of like a elegance and classiness to it, to where I kind of feel like the best time to wear this would be to like some sort of like upscale night event or something like that, and not necessarily wearing it as like a casual scent. But I mean, either way, this is definitely a scent that I'll absolutely love. And I'll probably always have this bottle in my collection. All right. So again, that is Amber Night by Privezarah Perfumery. Next one up, another Dior Privé clone. This one is the clone of Bois d'Argent. Goes by the name of Bois Dores. And this one is also by Perfumery Privezarah. This one, man, I just did a video comparing this one to the original, and definitely the original smells a lot higher quality than this one. Definitely a lot more complex. You know, you get a lot more of like a natural and a lot stronger iris smell from that particular fragrance, the original Bois d'Argent. But at the same time, man, for this to be a fragrance that I was completely unfamiliar with the DNA of, this one, I definitely loved it, you know, when I first sprayed it on. I do like the Amber Night a little bit more than I do this one, just because it performs a little bit more loudly. This is a lot closer to the skin. But this one, I would say, just for like a kind of casual, like just laying around, lounging around type of scent, this one is definitely a really good scent for that. And I think, you could also wear this in upscale situations as well. But for me, I tend to reach for this more so kind of when I'm just chilling in the house and I just want to smell good, but don't necessarily want to wear something that's super strong. All right. So again, that is Bois Dores by Perfumery Privezarah. Next one is going to be a clone of Maison Francis Kurkdjian's Aqua Universalis, and that is Fragrance World's Barakkat Aqua Crystal. I'm actually wearing this one today, and man, this one is just, it's just pretty much just drier sheet, sort of, tart citrus, freshness pretty much. You get a lot of florals in this one. Like I said, you get citrus, lemon up top or whatnot. You get a lot of that when you first spray this one on. And then it kind of dries down to like a white floral, slightly woody sort of scent. But this one, man, I would say, in my opinion, it shines the best when you wear this in warm weather. So in the summer and, probably in the spring as well. Although, in my opinion, this is still like a year-round type of fragrance. So I would say you could, still get away with wearing this in like the fall and, possibly even the winter, just depending on where you live. Definitely, I would say the winter out here in Vegas, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend this for like the winter back in Cleveland, where I'm from. That's definitely not, I would say, the most ideal situation for this fragrance, or the most ideal climate for it. But regardless, man, this one will definitely have you smelling fresh. It'll make you smell luxurious, rich, all of the above, man. This one I really, really love. And again, that one is Barakkat Aqua Crystal by Fragrance World. Next one up is a Lataffa fragrance. This is going to be the first Lataffa on the list, actually. And this one, you all know it. It's Lataffa's Khamarah. This is their sort of inspired fragrance, is what I want to call it. I won't call it a clone, but sort of inspired fragrance of Kilian's Angel Share. I pretty much just bought this off of hype. There was at one time, like late last year, where everybody's top whatever list had Kilian's Angel Share on it. And at that time, everybody was looking for like a cheaper alternative of Angel Share. And while this one doesn't smell exactly like Angel Share, it definitely is a lot more, in my opinion, denser, thicker, almost sort of has like a more of a chocolatey type of feel to it. But man, this stuff is amazing. I would even say in some situations, like especially like in super cold weather, I would prefer to wear this over Angel Share just because it performs better. It's a lot louder. Man, but this one is like vanilla, chocolate, spices, praline, has a slight sort of booziness to it. You kind of get like this sort of apple cinnamon feel to it, but like I said, this one also kind of has more of like a sort of chocolatey, vanillic type of feel to it. So it adds that little twist to it that I think really makes this its own fragrance, and I really, really enjoy this one a lot. So again, that is Lataffa's Khamarah. All right, so then we have now another cold weather fragrance, this one from Alexandria Fragrances, and this one is 1981X. This is their interpretation of Xerjoff's Naxos. I've yet to smell the original Xerjoff Naxos to really be able to know how close this is to that particular fragrance. Definitely let me know in the comments if you want me to actually do a side-by-side comparison of Naxos to this. But regardless, man, even if this smells nothing like Naxos, it's an amazing fragrance. It really is. This is like when somebody says a fragrance is tobacco and honey, this is like in my mind the fragrance that I always compare it to, or I always kind of have the expectation of it smelling like is this. There's something about this. It's like it's thick, it's sweet, but at the same time it's sort of like aromatic. So a lot of times I'll go pretty heavy with this when I spray it on. I'll probably go at least about 6 or 7 sprays with this, and it projects really loudly, but at least for me, it never really becomes like super headache inducing. So I really love that about this fragrance. And it's one that, at least for me, I only reach for this in like the really cold weather. But when I do put this on, I smell it all day long, and I absolutely love the way it smells. So again, that is Alexandria Fragrances 1981X. Next fragrance, this is another Dior Privé collection clone, and that goes by the name of Frenetic Delicieuse. This is also a Paris Corner fragrance, and this one is like, I always say it's like gourmand heaven. This one is like vanilla, it's cherry, chocolate, just anything that you can think of that's like sweet and edible. That's what this is, man. To my nose, or at least in my opinion anyway, this is like completely unisex. I think anybody, a man or a woman, could wear this. I could definitely see how some people would say that this probably leans a little bit more feminine, but I have no problem with wearing this fragrance at all. And I absolutely enjoy this fragrance when I wear it. It is, strong, but at the same time, it does sort of have like this sort of airiness to it, to where, again, it doesn't get too cloying for me. And, I'm someone that I don't think I'm as sensitive to scents to where, a lot of scents get super cloying to me. But there are definitely some scents that can become cloying to me if I spray too much of them on. Like I said, the Tabac fragrance by Maison Alhambra, that's definitely one of those scents where if I spray that on like 7 times or something like that, I'm going to regret it probably like 20, 30 minutes later. All right. So this one is not one of those scents. I'll probably spray this about 6 to 8 times whenever I wear it. And again, I absolutely enjoy every minute of it. So again, that is Frenetic Delicieuse from the Emir line from Paris Corner. The next fragrance up, this one is by F.A. Paris, which is a Fragrance World brand or line. And this one is actually copying or cloning a Initio fragrance. And this one goes by the name of Happiness Oud. This is their Oud for Happiness clone. And it's just this really nice combination of like this sort of orange citrus note mixed with ginger and other spices and licorice as well. It sounds like a weird combination. It also kind of has like this sort of sweet herbalness to it. Definitely sounds like a weird combination when you look at the notes or when you hear about what the scent DNA is. But when I wear this, man, I really love it. I really do. It doesn't project as loudly as something like any of the Oud for Greatness clones. It doesn't really smell like it has any sort of oud in it at all, honestly, even though oud is, I think, in the note breakdown for this one. But this one, man, is definitely a really good unique summer fragrance. You know, especially if you like sort of spicy, citrusy fragrances, this one is really a good choice. All right. So again, that is Happiness Oud from F.A. Paris Fragrance World. Next one up is Qaed Al Fursan. This is a Lataffa fragrance. And I mean, pretty much with this one is like this really sweet, like sugary sweet or syrupy sweet pineapple fragrance. But at the same time, it sort of has like a airiness to it. So it's not super dense to where it becomes cloying. This one also performs really, really good. For the price point that this is at, which is like $20, this goes all day long. It projects, I would say, at least on me anyway, this projects for like 3 to 4 hours, like no joke. This is like really, really beast mode stuff. And like I said, longevity wise, this goes all day long. Like this, I would say I would compare the performance to this almost to Rasasi's Hawas. It doesn't project as loudly as Hawas can, you know, especially in the earlier hours of the fragrance, but it does project for a really long time. So, you know, again, this one, if you want like a really fresh, long-lasting, cheap summer fragrance to wear that really smells good, this one is definitely a recommended buy. All right. So again, that's Lataffa's Qaed Al Fursan. Next one up is another Maison Alhambra fragrance. And this one is actually cloning one of the Tom Ford fragrances. This one goes by Porto Neroli. And Porto Neroli, man, this one, you get that Neroli note, but in my opinion, the Neroli note is not like really overpowering. It is one of the more, you know, key players within this particular fragrance. But I don't know, you also sort of get like this sort of spiciness to the fragrance as well. You get like a nice dose of citrus in this fragrance. And I think the citrus, the spices, the Neroli, they all are sort of balanced out really, really well in this particular fragrance. And I don't know, to me, it just smells really, really masculine to me. Really fresh, clean, almost kind of like a classic sort of fragrance. I really love this stuff, man. I haven't worn it too much as of yet, but I absolutely love the way this smells, and I'm absolutely happy that I picked this up as a blind buy. So again, that is Maison Alhambra's Porto Neroli. Next fragrance up, this is probably going to be like one of the cheapest fragrances on this list, if not the cheapest. This is a Cremo fragrance, and this goes by Saltwater and Cypress. And pretty much what I get from this one, man, is just this sort of marine, aquatic, sort of fougere type of fragrance. And it's not like a old school sort of barbershop sort of fougere type of fragrance. That's not really the vibe that I get from this. This more so kind of smells like it's like a modern or more updated version of what a fougere would smell like. And I mean, for $20, man, this stuff really does smell super high quality. It really does. You know, when you first spray it on, you get an alcohol blast that maybe lasts for about 30 seconds or so. But once this stuff starts drying down, and once you step outside and get into the sun and the heat, this stuff really, really comes alive and it radiates off your skin. I absolutely love the way this smells. That's Saltwater and Cypress by Cremo. Next fragrance up is a Louis Vuitton clone, and this is by Maison Alhambra. It's Jean Lowe Immortal. This is their interpretation of Louis Vuitton's L'Immensité. And this isn't like a one-to-one clone. This is definitely their interpretation with sort of like a twist to it. They've definitely added a lot more ginger and spice to this particular fragrance. But at the same time, it does still have sort of like that watery, almost tea-like feel to it in the background. But like I said, it's got a much more amped up sort of ginger note to the fragrance. And at least for me, man, I do like the way that it makes the fragrance smell, because it makes it smell like a stronger fragrance. And at least for me, this stuff lasts all day long whenever I wear it. And it projects, I would say, for a pretty long time as well, at least like 2.5 to 3 hours or so. So again, that is Jean Lowe Immortal by Maison Alhambra. All right, so we've got 2 more fragrances left. This one coming up is another Maison Alhambra fragrance. This one goes by the name of Grise. This is their interpretation of Gris Dior. And this one is just like this watery, sort of cold, metallic, sort of rose fragrance. It has like this bergamot note, at the top of this particular fragrance that really, it makes it, I would say, sort of more so mass appealing. Without that bergamot note, I think if this was just like strictly a rose, oak moss, patchouli type of scent, this one I probably wouldn't like as much. But that bergamot up top, it really makes this one, it gives it sort of like a sweetness and, like I said, kind of like a cold, sort of metallic type of feel to it. I would say it's got like the same sort of bergamot note in it that like Dior Sauvage has, where it's like this really sort of piercing, cold, metallic, sharp sort of bergamot note. That's what this has in the beginning, and then that mixes in with sort of like this watery, sweet rose, and then in the dry down, like I said, you get like this patchouli oak moss mix. This is a really, really unique scent. It really is, but I do enjoy it. To some, it can maybe come off a little bit mature, but at least for me, man, I do enjoy it a lot. And for a blind buy, I mean, I'm really happy with this purchase. So again, that is Grise by Maison Alhambra. And then we have come to the end here with our last fragrance. This is also a Louis Vuitton interpretation, and this is Intimation by Emper Perfumes. And I mean, at least in my opinion anyway, after smelling Imagination, which is what this is cloning, I do sort of prefer this over Imagination. Imagination is not as sweet. It's a lot more tart. The Neroli note is definitely a lot more prominent with that particular fragrance. So it kind of smells more so like almost kind of like a drier sheet, sort of, fresh type of scent, where it's like really drier sheet, clean like that. Whereas this one has a lot more sweetness added into it. It's definitely a lot sweeter. It doesn't have really any sort of tartness in it. It has a really nice, like mandarin orange sort of note in the top. And then in the dry down, it definitely has like this really nice sort of black tea note to it. It doesn't smell as sort of watery as what Imagination does. Imagination in the dry down kind of has like this watery neroli and, tea note to it as well. But this one, I would say it still kind of maintains more of like that sweetness to it. It doesn't perform as good as Imagination does, at least on skin. But when you spray this on clothes, I mean, I was able to get at least about 7 hours or so. And I mean, for $21 that this goes for on labelperfumes.com, this one is a really, really good deal. And I'm really happy with this as a blind buy. All right. So that's the list. I hope you all made it through the entire list. If you did, thanks for rocking with me. Let me know if you smelled most of, if not all of these particular clones, and also the originals as well that I had on the list. And let me know what you think about them. Let me know if you actually purchased a lot of these fragrances as blind buys as well. All right. So again, go ahead and leave a like, comment, also subscribe to the channel, and please share the video. And that's Jamar from Vegas Scents. I'll see y'all in the next video.